Ever since we made Commander Cody's ATTE Microfighter to sit alongside Captain Rex's Y-Wing, I've been hard at work designing more Microfighters for other clone commanders. But LEGO hasn't actually made that many named commanders, so we're turning towards customs to fill the minifigure slots. One of my favorites, being Commander Bligh and his 327th Legion, have never been made in LEGO, so I had to make something for them. And before the Clone Wars TV show, they were only featured in a single scene in Revenge of the Sith. And in that same scene, a very cool walker made its only on-screen appearance, so that makes for an easy choice for their vehicle. So this is Commander Bligh's ATOT Microfighter. Designed to match the style of my ATTE build, this fits 2 troopers and has all the iconic features of the ATOT. 8 massive legs with 2 cannons in the front and 2 more in the rear on either side of the loading ramp. Then we also worked in smaller details like armor flaps to protect the joints, and a dark green tile in the middle to represent the seats for other troopers. The head uses lots of clear pieces to make up the cockpit area, and I put a grill piece between it and the body to represent the articulated neck, but it of course doesn't actually move. And in the realm of movement, the legs can also technically move, but not in any way that represents walking. At this scale, it's a bit tough to get that done, and I'm sure someone could do it, but I wanted them to be consistent with my ATTE design, so they're relatively stationary. Getting Bligh and his troopers in or out is easy enough. They're only attached with 2 studs using those modified tiles, so their legs won't be getting stuck. The only annoying part is having to remove Bligh's camo so you don't crease it when he's sitting in there. But once you have them in, you have a fully crewed ATOT Microfighter. The build clocks in at 176 parts, so it's fairly on par for what we've seen from other Microfighters that contain 2 figures, except this is all in a single build. Price-wise, however, this is a bit more expensive than I'd like it to be, especially for a Microfighter, coming in between $13 and $17. A bit of a wide range, but like any purchase on Bricklink, be selective where you buy from and you can get it for a prettier penny. Now you already know our other Microfighters for Commander Wolffe. Him and his Wolf Pack are a fan favorite, and they have been made in LEGO before, coming in the 2011 Republic Frigate set. So I figured we'll capitalize on their appearance from back then and make the Republic Frigate his Microfighter. A single-seater build, this is one of my favorite ships in the Star Wars universe, and it was really fun to design. The cockpit was probably the trickiest area to get right because of the large escape pod underneath, but I think it turned out pretty good with minimal wasted space. Further back behind that, around the seat for Commander Wolffe, we've got 2 side cannons along with these small tan rounded tiles to represent a Republic Navy insignia. And there should also be 2 more cannons on the bottom, but I couldn't fit those in and instead just rounded off the build with some slopes. The back end of the cruiser I really like because of all the small details I worked in there. I used some brackets on either side to represent the airlocks. Then we've got a small communications array above that sits in front of this rear-facing turret that's above the engines. The engines themselves are nothing special, they look good, but these rounded modified bricks were the saviors back here. Putting 2 of these bricks together with a tile on top and on the side makes a small build that fills the empty space between the engines perfectly. And just like the ATOT, Commander Wolffe is only attached with 2 studs, so you can easily get him in or out of the Microfighter. But that pretty much covers it for both of our Commander's Microfighters. However, there is a third one that I made, except it's not for a clone. As most of you know, the Republic Frigate was just a retrofit of the Red Consular class cruiser, which predates the Clone Wars. So with a few modifications to the existing frigate and a coat of red paint, I made the Consular class cruiser. This version has no combat capabilities and was mostly used to transport diplomats, so you won't find cannons anywhere on it. Instead, we've got a large communication dish at the front, with the communications array in the back being a little bit different as well. Otherwise, it's largely just a recolor minus a few small details. And unfortunately, I don't have a Republic officer minifigure to put in here, so it's relatively crewless, but just like the other 2, they're only studded in with 2 studs to make it easy to get them in or out. The Grey Combat Frigate version has 116 parts, while the Red Frigate has a few less at 111, and they both cost roughly $11 to $15. I was able to get the Grey version to return for $7 at a store, but they had a minimum buy limit, so as I mentioned earlier, be selective and you can get a price you're happy with. Let me know what you think of this trio of Microfighters in the comments below, and if you want to build them for yourself, I have full PDF building instructions, plus parts files for each to make easy ordering of pieces available on my Patreon page. Here's a glimpse at the current roster of completed Microfighter builds that I have. Let me know which one you want me to build physically and make a video on next. And if you have any suggestions for any other alternate builds or mods you'd like me to do, drop those down below as well. And hopefully with the rumor of a 327th Battle Pack coming out later this year, I might be able to stock this ATOT full of official 327th clones. But I suppose we'll have to wait and see.